English-based players. Have you been able to come up with anybody?
That is something that we need to develop. I'm going to talk about that. You know, this is second time I've come over with the squad on camp. It's a great opportunity to talk to the board, and that's what we're going to do.
But have you been able to see any English-based players that have caught your attention and can work?
There are so many.
Morrison, Baker, Hayden, the best midfield three combined for the Reggae Boyz. Join Premier 7 right now for the big chat. Never give up, because you never know if the next try is going to be the one that works. This is an amazing quote written by Mary Kay Ash, as it links directly to the Jamaica men's national team. Welcome back on board to Premier 7 yet again, everyone. I am your host, Ryan Nelson. It is a rainy day, however, I am hoping that you all are having a fantastic time. Of course, today's topic is all about the Jamaica men's national team, surrounding an area of concern that is the midfield. And even though I have selected 3 names, it doesn't mean that even though these players may have quality, they may not be the best combination. However, it is of me as your host to let you know my thought and for you to have your own say thereafter. The topic speaks directly to 3 players of 3 different positions in the midfield. That is Ravel Morrison, Lewis Baker, and Isaac Hayden, surrounding the question, are these 3 players the best combined 11 for the Reggae Boyz? Of course, I am going to have an assessment done on these 3 players. Then I will have a general talk about them based on position. And of course, before the show is being closed, I will cover the question, how would they line up, and the benefit that they will bring to the national team. Of course, people, I just have to say a warm thank you for your assistance surrounding a poll that I did a few hours ago that speaks directly to the question: Morrison attacking mid, Baker center mid, Hayden defensive mid. A combination of these 3, are they the rightful midfield 3 for the Reggae Boyz? So far, I received 38 votes. 71% states indeed, whilst 26 stated maybe, with the latter or the fewer amount says no way with 3%. Of course, you can see that the video poll did have a few comments, for which I have to say a massive thank you to Chaddy Chad WW7JE that states Bobby must start. Alright, so Bobby isn't a part of this combination. However, your point has to be thumbs up, because guess what? Without the fans, Premier 7 wouldn't have been what it is today. And of course, people, above at the top of the screen, you can see that I have 1,643 subscribers. Please go ahead to subscribe if you're new. And if you are already a subscriber, then you know what to do. Let's talk about Jamaica midfield by way of an assessment. I know for a fact that the players that we have in the midfield currently, they are giving a lot to the national team, surrounding their effort. But is it a case of which the effort that these guys are executed on the pitch, is it up to par? Is it up to scratch? Is it at that level that Coach Steve McLaren would like to see? For sure, as a fan of the Reggae Boyz, I don't think the national team's midfield is strong enough. But we do have players who have the potential to get better, while some other players may need to come from the bench or just play within a few more hours of the game. In that sense, people, we know that Ravel Morrison is playing for a club right now. He's already a Jamaican player. However, for Baker and Hayden, it was said by way of the papers that more so their papers have been finalized. I am keeping my fingers crossed because it is not certain on my end that these players will be available for Jamaica coming next month, within the month of November. The midfield that we have here as a Reggae Boy nation is one of concern, and I think by way of obvious realization, the players that we have, they need to be upgraded on. We have to understand though that these players do have injuries, and sometimes they have been overplayed, and also based on the turfs or the fields that they are playing, it doesn't match up well to what they're used to. And in that sense, we need for players who can become more dominant whichever area or place they play for the national team. In that sense, people, I just want to show you something quickly here, as it speaks or links directly to the rating of our current players that we have in the national team. And I'm going to use the Copa America statistics based on the ratings and to assess a few of our midfield players who, may have been receiving a lot of games than the norm. All right, so we know that our midfield have a Leon Bailey, a Bobby Reed, a Casey Palmer, a Cephas, Anderson, McGee, Campbell, Russell, Lambert, and Reed. Some of the names are just there because they haven't received enough chances to play for the national team. But how about speaking about the ones that are normally representing? For example, a Bobby Reed. Bobby Reed is one of Jamaica's main midfield players, a player who we can rely on, a player that is always available to represent the badge, a player who have his ups and downs. But for me, Bobby Reed needs assistance because him alone in the midfield will not be good enough, and at times Bobby Reed look a bit lost in the game. No doubt about his quality, but we need somebody to assist Bobby Reed, like let's just say he's playing beside a better midfielder or he's been utilized elsewhere on the pitch, or let's say coming from the bench. In that sense, surrounding a Bobby Reed, people, you can see here that his rating is 6.90. That isn't bad for a player who I think is somewhat average, but for the CONCACAF region, then more so it is acceptable for him as a player. Speaking about a player, I want to talk about Casey Palmer as well, because Casey Palmer is that type of player who can play as an 8 or as a number 10, a player who can make passes, a player who can take set pieces, but he's not the player who is playing convincing football as yet. You're seeing that he played one game before, who looks quite impressive on the ball, but thereafter or before, he looks a bit rusty nevertheless. A rating of 6.67 is average for me, and I think when he plays for his club team, he looks way better than the Jamaican national team. Another player before I move on from this is that I want to speak about a Anderson. Young, I don't think he reached 23 as yet. He gives me a little impression of a Kamavinga, but he's not a Kamavinga. But based on how he plays, this guy is quite young. He's been placed in situations that we may not have enough options, or the coach doesn't trust who he currently has. So he's going to use the player in an Anderson, but I think he's out of place on several occasions because of the fact that he's playing with guys who are above his level. But I don't think he should be put out of the club or that he's playing for or the national team, but he needs more. A 6.60 ratings isn't a bad thing, but there's a lot more that we need from our national team players. In that sense, let's have a talk about Morrison, Baker, and Hayden. A general talk. Ravel Morrison is a player that Jamaican fan base really love. I won't say they idolize him, but the past of Ravel Morrison reveals that he's one of the best talents to ever blessed the shore of football. A player who have the technical skills, the speed, the stamina, the energy, the ability to score goals and make assists is not the best as to what he should have been before, because things do happen and he's not who he was supposed to be. However, he's playing for a club right now, and the door has been opened for him to play for the national team. If Ravel Morrison is given that chance, and I think then more so Jamaica may have a chance to be uplifted surrounding how they play in terms of the midfield, seeing that Ravel Morrison is a guy who can control how the midfield plays. Moving from Ravel Morrison to a Lewis Baker, a player who I have spoken about a few days ago, a good midfield player who have the speed, the strength, the stamina, the attacking prowess, the control of the game, a player who can take set pieces. Jamaican fans love this guy, and more so, he have what it takes to play for the national team. Seeing that based on his age profile and his quality, we would love to have him to play in the midfield. Now, for Isaac Hayden, the Jamaican fans are not sure about him. There is a lot of questions surrounding why would he want to play for Jamaica now. Is it a case of which he just want to play for us in the World Cup? But the coach looks at him, the coach likes him, he then decided to play for Jamaica, even though we saw the interview. Some players will be forgiven, while some will be not forgiven. But I think that this guy, if he's up to par and on his day, for which I will not know when he's going to be on his day, then possibly he can help the national team to be upgraded. But as I've said earlier, out people, I am not saying that these players will be the best three for the national team, but I'm just sharing my opinion surrounding what they can bring to the Jamaican national team, because the midfield that we have right now in terms of the players, the pools of players, we are not at our best surrounding quality in regards to getting good output from what these players are putting out on the pitch. All right, so Morrison, Baker, Hayden, how would they line up and benefit the national team? You can see that I have placed the position on these players so far. Seeing that based on what they can do, I believe that these positions given will be more realistic for them to play in the national team's color. Now, you are seeing here that I went with a 4-2-3-1 formation. That is a typical formation of coach Steve McLaren. And I think how these players play as well, it would be better for them. So you're seeing the ticks that Morrison is he should be the attacking midfielder there, whilst Baker is a ACM, and for Hayden, he is the DM. So the back four, Blake is already in goal, no doubt about that. The right back, Lemby Kisa, center back, Lowe and Pinnock. Left back, we have a Bell, midfield. Three, we have Hayden, Baker, and Morrison. Up front, we have Demarai Gray, Bailey, and Antonio. I'm not going to speak about those persons outside of the tick, right? So let's talk about a Ravel Morrison. So Ravel Morrison is that player who Jamaican fans believe in, that on his day, if given the chance again, he will be one of the best players that we can use. We need quality to go to the World Cup because it will not be the same as the CONCACAF region. It will not be the same as just to play in a Caribbean league or to play for a club in Saudi or those places. Not looking down on those areas, but to let you know, or as we should know, is that the World Cup takes a lot more than just word of mouth. Ravel Morrison is a good player in these spaces. He loves to control the game. He loves to control the ball. He will make passes to, say, Ademarai Gray, who may be in a space, or Leon Bailey if he's available. And also, Antonio needs some assistance from the players. Ravel Morrison may use his vision to pass the ball or to string a few passes to Antonio, who will more so score at least 2 goals out of 5 chances. All right? We don't want for Ravel Morrison to be dropping too deep. We want for him to be the man who will be stringing the pass or having the final pass in the final third. And of course, hopefully, if we get set pieces, he will be that man who we can give that opportunity, or we can put him alongside players like a Bobby Reed, a Demarai Gray, or a Baker to compete against opposition teams, whereas Jamaica would need goals to win games or to qualify for different stages of the various competitions. Now for Lewis Baker, this is his reason in the team as a CM, so he's like an 8 this side or that side. He will be that man to be going up and down. Sometimes he will cover if Isaac Hayden is not playing or Isaac Hayden do go forward in the midfield. Let's say Hayden move from the DM role because he has the ball and Morrison give him the gap. Then we need a coverage just in case we may be hit on the counter, because some teams do hit well on the counter And also, if not hit on the counter, they can be very pressuring in the midfield. And with the status and the quality of a Baker, I think that he will be that guy to bring the physicality to the national team. He will bring that intelligence and that energy that Jamaica would need to control the game instead of hitting long balls, but also to use his intuition to make passes and plays where deemed necessary. Now, for Isaac Hayden as the DM of the national team, it is a position that he's used to, right? He'll be the person to clear up this area or to protect the back four and to make passes to the midfield or the front line or the striker. His role is going to be very much essential. I don't think he had the legs like before when he was at Newcastle starting, but I think if he is intelligent enough and understand the team instructions and what the team chemistry is all about, then I believe that this guy will have a good game, or let's say good games, that will have the team going forward to the next level. I believe that Jamaica needs to go higher and higher in the FIFA rankings. We're nowhere in the top 30s, so we need for a players to be injected in the team, not based on name, but based on quality, team spirit, and potential to hit other teams out of the waters and dominate games. Jamaica is yet to be consistent, whereas proper football is considered, and we're still in search of players who can make the team better. As I've said before, I'm not certain that these players will be the best midfield three, but to have them in the national team, then I believe that Jamaica will have the ability to even win a few competitions or, let's say, play consistent football going forward. So, people, what is your say though on the topic? What is your belief about these three players? The topic, just to repeat, is that Morrison, Baker, Hayden, the best midfield three combined for the Jamaica men's national team, or let's say the Reggae Boyz. For me, having these three players would add depth to the team, would add some experience and quality. Not to say that they will play in every game, but at least when these players are around on their best day, for which I would like for it to be persistent and continuous, then the national teams will look more balanced and look more energized, refreshed, and up to that level that can help us to go on a higher heights, whereas football is concerned. So, people, it is now my time to go. I would like to hear your say in the comment section. Please let me know what you think until we meet again. Bye bye for now.